Do Christians believe in free will? This week, for the second time, I interviewed Robert Sapolsky, a neuroscientist from Stanford University, who's just written a 600, 700-page book about why we don't have free will. It's called Determined. And he basically thinks that in order for him to begin believing in free will, someone would have to show him a neuron that fired for no apparent reason, that wasn't influenced by the history of everything that came before that. And what he means by that is that if we're in a room that smells like garbage, we're likely to make one kind of a decision. And if we're in a room that smells like freshly baked cookies, we're likely to make another decision. So even the smell and sensory atmosphere around us influences our decision. And not only that, but what we had to eat for breakfast that day does. Our hormones do. What kind of lives we've been living before that. Have we been socializing a lot with people, reading lots of books, exercising, playing video games, in prison? All those things will shape the kind of decision we make. And even further back than that, when it happened to us as children, whether we were abused or whether we were neglected, will have a huge influence on what kind of decision we make. And even before that, when we were in our mother's womb, what our experience was like at that time also influences what we decide. Our family history influences, the genes that we inherited, whether there was a famine during our grandparents' childhood will influence what happened to us. And beyond that, our culture, our history, all these things create a lengthy chain of different events that mean that we do not have true freedom to decide on what to do. So in many ways, William James has been asking this question. He's a philosopher from the 19th century. He asked the same question too. And he believes the statement, "I have free will," is one that cannot be established by human reason. You cannot prove, according to reason, whether we have free will or don't have free will. And if all these different chains cause what we decide and we can't predict what those are, what does it matter anyway? Many people, though, especially Robert Sapolsky, believes that this idea is very liberating because it means that we cannot blame people. Like if someone's committed a terrible crime but had a terribly abusive childhood, should that person be held responsible in the same way as somebody who had had a happy childhood? And so he really is trying to reduce the way that we blame people for their circumstances. And instead, he wants us to see everybody in a more neutral, balanced, free way. And so in a way, it's a way of seeing the dignity in every person, regardless of what they decide to do. And I appreciate that very much. So what do Christians believe about free will? Well, many Christians over the course of time have had a very limited idea of what human beings actually decide. So people like St. Paul, St. Augustine of Hippo, John Calvin, all of them felt that human beings were limited in their freedom. And John Calvin in particular, he thought there's nothing that a human being can do to throw off the course of the universe, that God is the one who's in charge. God is the one who decides everything. God makes the world the way that it is. So what is it that I believe? I believe that we should be very careful about judging other people, that we should recognize there are ways that they're influenced by things that we just cannot possibly understand. I believe that we should see every person and see their dignity, to see that they're made in the image of God. But with regard to free will, I believe that we shouldn't be looking so much at ourselves, whether we are free, but acting as if the people around us are free. Because when we do that, we experience a sense of gratitude, and we can express gratitude for who they are and what they do and what they mean to us. Gratitude not just to one another, but gratitude also to God, who creates everything and gives us our existence and gives us so many beautiful blessings that we hardly even notice because we're wrapped up in the dramas of everyday life. There are so many different ways to live in this world. There's so many different philosophical worldviews. And whether you're somebody who believes in free will or whether you're somebody who thinks everything is determined, my prayer for you is that you have a sense of God at work in your life, that you have a direction to offer that gratitude that is so natural to human beings. My name is Malcolm Clemens Young. I'm the Dean of Grace Cathedral here in San Francisco, California. Thanks for watching More Good News.